What's up with y'all, man?
What's up, bro? Doing pretty good, man. What's your name, bro?
I'm Raheem.
Raheem? Yes, brother Raheem. All right, my name's Soraya, man. You believe in the Bible?
No, sir.
No? Why not?
Well, my belief is that the Bible was used to oppress us, man. When we first came with slavery, there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, stuff in there that don't regulate with me, so I have
What you right. The people that enslaved us during, let's see, we got some signs. The people that enslaved us during this time frame right here, right? A lot of them did use the Bible as a means of making us submissive, right? But I got a question for you though, right? So let's say if I took, let's say you write an autobiography of your life, and then I take that autobiography and I teach it to somebody who's never read or has no knowledge of it, and I teach it to them incorrectly for some benefit for me, personal benefit, right?
Some form of that's the Bible don't exist. I'm saying that the Bible that we've been looking at, we've been pushed up on, is not valid. So if I was to read the Bible you're talking about, the one that you saying that they rewrote, you know what I'm saying, the one before they rewrote it and used it against others. So I'll be down with it.
What Bible you saying they rewrote?
The Bible you just got ready to refer to. If somebody wrote my autobiography and retwisted. So what you basically
No, not retwisted as in rewrote it, meaning they took your words on what you wrote and they just teaching it to their benefit, meaning they may twist what's in there, but they not rewriting what's in there.
Okay.
Right. Does that now make your autobiography a lie? Because somebody decided to read it or teach it one way?
No.
That's not true?
Once you read it yourself, you can teach yourself.
I'm glad you just said that. So the point I'm making is a lot of our people, because of the history that we have and our interactions in slavery and the people that oppressed us, how they taught us the Bible, we stay away from the Bible like the book, something wrong with the book. But no, the people who taught us, there's something wrong with their ass. It ain't nothing wrong with the book. It's something wrong with the people. Because when you read this book, you start to realize that the things that they were teaching and they was twisting to manipulate us is not true. Yes, I have. From Genesis to Revelation.
Stuff in there, they ain't had to twist up, my guy.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, about the part which you should obey your slave masters.
You wanna? Let's read that. You got that? It's what's it? Colossians? Colossians 3. Let's read it because they told us, right, that means what from their perspective that the slaves that they brought over here forcefully and treated them like cattle, that we supposed to obey them. Now let's see if the Bible is talking about that. Watch this. Colossians chapter 3. I forget what it's at. Verse 22. Read that.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 22. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God.
Now watch this. Now watching this same book, watch what it says. We're going to go to chapter 4 and verse 1. I want to watch this.
Colossians chapter 4 and verse 1. Masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal.
So in this same book, it says that the masters of the servants are supposed to give to their servants what's just and equal. Let me ask you something. Is it just and equal for you to have somebody that works for you and they work from sun up to sundown for free?
Yeah, that's not just at all, but we're not saying everybody who go by the Bible is not right, man.
I absolutely agree, but that's the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is the people who taught us this, they didn't follow it. But what did they do? They manipulated us, or manipulated it to manipulate us. Right. It's the point that I'm making, right? Because when you actually figure out what service is this talking about, now let's go to Leviticus to figure out. Let's see if this talking about a person that you take forcefully from their own homeland, their own country, and you force them to be a slave. Let's see if that's talking about that, or let's see if it's talking about something else. Watch this.
Leviticus chapter 25 verse 55. For unto me the children of Israel are servants.
Start up above, like if your brother be waxing poor. I think it's like 35, 45, somewhere around there.
35, 36.
Read that.
Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and falling in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
So in a situation, let's say I'm your brother or whatever, we have a good relationship, and I see that you fall on some type of financial hard times. What am I able to do? I'm able to help you out by, let me take you into my home, let you work for me. I'm going to pay you until you're able to get back on your feet, get out of debt, whatever the case may be. God gave us commandments, and that's how we're supposed to deal with our brothers who lack resources or they fall on hard times, right? But those are the servants that's making reference to, for, like, say for instance, if I'm helping you, that means if I'm asking you to do certain things because I'm the person that's hired you, you're supposed to obey me. You're supposed to listen to me, right? But does that mean I take advantage of you because of that, or I treat you like a slave? Let's see what it say. Verse 40, I think it's like 40, 41. Where I'm at? No, read where you was at.
Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and falling in decay for thee.
No, 39.
Verse 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee waxing poor and be sold unto thee.
Right, because he now works for you. I took you into my house, you work for me now. I'm your boss essentially. But do I treat you like a slave? Let's see.
Thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant.
Bond servant, in other words, is a slave. It's an old, different term for slave, right? You got somebody in bondage, meaning like tied up, they restrained, they have no freedom of movement. That's a slave. God says we're not supposed to treat each other that way. Read.
But as an higher servant and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee and shall serve thee until the year of Jubilee.
But you're supposed to be unto me as a higher servant, right? Meaning as an employee. Because let's see if you taking your own brother or your own people into slavery is allowed. Exodus 21:16. Let's see if what the white man did by taking us as slaves is something that the Bible condones. Or let's see if they just disregarded all that and gonna tell us servants obey your masters.
Bring it up.
Let's see who really just in what they read are teaching out the book. Read that.
Exodus chapter 21 and verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
God says if another man takes somebody and steals them from their homeland and you want to sell him for merchandise or for money, or let's say you be caught in the process of you stealing him, God says that man supposed to be put to death. He's supposed to die.
Ain't none of them die. That's what I'm saying.
You want to know why they ain't die?
They gonna get their punishment in the end from the Bible. The Bible says.
You absolutely right. But my question to you right now is, since they didn't get their punishment yet, right? God allowed it to happen. Why did he allow it to happen?
You don't put too much on us that we can't do it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we endured it, but that's much. You don't think that's pretty much?
Hey, that's a little extreme. That's a little extreme. That's why the Bible says you're gonna get put to death when you do it. But
I'm talking about for us. Why would he put our? Because the events that took place during that time frame, right, is very unique to certain groups or races of people. Like black people went through it. Certain Hispanics went through it. Native Americans that were already here, they went through it. So why would God allow those groups of people to suffer through that? You don't hear nothing about no Caucasians being put through no chattel slavery and treated like animals, or Asians or Arabs.
I'm saying, ever since like the beginning of the Bible, his people always been
In slavery, in servitude. So my question is, why?
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
I don't know that.
Bring it out.
All I know, everybody got
Okay, so guess what, brother? I need you to get this answer before you leave. Watch this, Deuteronomy 28:15, because the same answer to why that has happened all throughout God's people's history, which whether you believe it or not you are, is the same reason why we suffer the way we suffer in this country right here. In every city, every ghetto where it is, every ghetto in every city, we live in it. With a bad food, every hood got a liquor store, a wing spot, a pawn, a title loan spot. Everywhere. Why you think this is like that everywhere we live? It's not by coincidence, bro. You gotta start thinking bigger than just what you see out here. It's divine power at play that's causing you and your race to experience what we experience in this land. It's not by coincidence.
Okay, so y'all don't believe in Jesus then?
We absolutely do. Watch this.
Wait, look what he said Jesus is though.
Hold on.
I'm saying, cause I'm watching like y'all like this, y'all showing this ain't Jesus.
Absolutely. You believe that this is Jesus?
No, I'm saying, I don't believe at all. I was saying, like, so y'all actually showing this ain't Jesus, so that means y'all on some point don't believe with this Jesus is made up believe.
This, because this is a made up believe Jesus. But did the man actually exist? Absolutely. But did he look like this and this is a description or a depiction of him? Absolutely not.
You think he was a child of God or a prophet?
He's the son of God and a prophet. But, and we're going to deal with that later because you said you don't believe in him. We're going to touch on that. Watch this, Deuteronomy 28:15. But I want to make sure you get the answer as to why the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and the Native Americans are suffering everywhere they live. Right? Watch this, Deuteronomy 28:15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
You listen to that, bro? What it said? I just want to make sure you with me. So you ain't here. Okay, I'm a you know who? Do you know who Moses? I'm gonna make it quick for you. All right. So do you remember what he did? What did he do?
He freed the people.
From out of where? Egypt, right?
Yeah.
So what we just read, you're out of bondage, right? So the people this is Moses speaking. This is after he done freed the people out of Egypt. Now he's talking to these people and telling them, it shall come to pass, meaning in the future, if they decide, those people decide not to do what God told them to do, that God will put curses on them. Yeah. Right? Now, my question to you is, what is a curse?
That's a generation it's something bad, man.
It's bad, right? It's some bad. It's like some bad occurrences, but usually how it happens, it ain't usually through somebody doing something physical to you, but it's usually some divine powers at play, right? Watch this. I want to read verse 16.
Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Some of these curses that Moses said what happened is that wherever God's people that he just freed live, that would be cursed in, meaning in the cities. I want you to think about every major city that we are in now that you could think of, like LA, Chicago, New York, right? Where are we living in these areas? In LA, you got all the hoods, like what they got, Slauson, Crenshaw, Compton, where a lot of what goes on, violence, crime. And New York, you got the 5 boroughs, right? In Chicago, you got all the different hoods where it's gang banging and it's murdering. Everywhere we live, bro, we have crime, we got issues. Even in Alabama, in Birmingham, in Montgomery, you got the same thing going on. God said this will happen. Why? Because we refuse to do what he told us to do. Our ancestors before us refused to do it. Today, we refuse to do it. Right? So, like right now, you saying you hot, you want to go, but that's the thing, bro. We try to give you a solution. Like, do you care about how you living? Is this life to you?
I can't explain my situation right now, but this ain't my situation right now. So
what you mean this ain't your situation?
I came because you asked me to come in and ask me to cook the food.
You live out here?
Yeah, I live out
So this is your situation?
Yeah, it is.
So what you mean it ain't your situation?
At any given time, it could be your situation too.
Absolutely.
Your life.
Absolutely.
That's why you need to, you can't put too much emphasis on people who stay here because you're
No, I'm not putting the people that live here down saying y'all below or nothing, right? I understand that a lot of us are in bad conditions, and believe it or not, on the other side of the world, it's way worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to talk about the people here because I understand what the Bible says about why we would be here. But what I'm trying to emphasize to you is that we don't have to live this way, and there's a reason, there's a divine reason at play of why we live this way. And if you give a damn about your people and your race, you would but now start to try to apply your mind on how you can try to reverse those things.
Right.
Which you can. Which a lot of these brothers you see right here, we're taking those steps and trying to do that.
Right.
But oftentimes when we do, guess what? We interact with other men who always got something better to do than worry about and care about their people.
Right.
If you notice, all the men that we celebrate today, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, all these men and women, why do we celebrate them today?
They were selfless leaders, I guess, they had
Yes, they was the first word. They were selfless, meaning they was able to put themselves behind the greater good of their race.
Bring it up.
They was willing to put their life on the line. Why is it that the men now is just like it's everything for themselves? They only give a damn about themselves.
Right.
Why is it that a lot of us we care about? Yes, I'm 26. I'm young.
That's what I'm saying. Life for a man,
Right.
not just a black man or a white man in particular, just life for a man is so complex, bro, that this is what I'm saying. That it ain't the fact that a guy just got too much going on to worry about his people. A guy got to worry about his people. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I can worry about y'all, but at the same time, I got to worry about them. You see
I agree.
First.
So why you can't do both?
Because I got to secure them first. Because that's my legacy. You see what I'm saying? Them my people I'm remember about.
So how do you secure them?
I got to, a lot of things, but,
Name a few.
first of all, you got to, what I'm saying, give knowledge. Prepare them for what's coming out to me. Because, I can buy material shit and have,
What that song really for? Go to Proverbs, what is it, train up a child? 22:16? 15? Because I'm hearing everything you're saying, and it's like, you can't do both, bro. But what you'll find out is the way that you take care of your people and the way that you take care of your people is the same way.
Right.
It's the same thing. Watch this. You got that?
22:15.
Yep.
Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
God says that we supposed to train, because that's how you secure your legacy, the people that come after you, right? Is you guide them in the way, a proper way they should go, which is, what's the proper way for them to go? What God says is the proper way to go. Because at the end of the day, he controls how long, your lifespan. He controls their lifespan. He controls what goes on in all our lives. If we want to be approved of somebody, it shouldn't be the world of your peers. It should be what the man who created you.
What is nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community.